1989, a time of change and uncertainty. The place, a secluded farm in rural Ohio, far removed from the hustle and bustle of city life. A family seeking spiritual guidance and a sense of belonging found something far more sinister lurking in the shadows. Their search for enlightenment ended in unimaginable horror, a nightmare they could never have foreseen. This is the story of Jeffrey Lundgren, a man who twisted faith into a weapon of destruction, leaving a trail of devastation in his wake. He used his charisma and biblical interpretations to weave a tapestry of manipulation and murder, ensnaring those who trusted him. This is a story about the seductive power of belief and the devastating consequences of blind obedience. A cautionary tale for all. This case, etched in my memory, still sends chills down my spine, a haunting reminder of the fragility of trust. It's a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface, hidden behind a mask of piety and righteousness, waiting to strike when least expected. Jeffrey Lundgren's path to becoming a self-proclaimed prophet was paved with turmoil and inner demons. Born in Missouri in 1950, his childhood was marred by abuse. Accounts from those who knew him paint a picture of a troubled young man grappling with instability and violence. His parents' volatile relationship created a chaotic environment. This left an indelible mark on young Jeffrey's psyche. He was a boy who seemed lost in his own world, seeking solace in religion. However, even this offered little comfort, as his early experiences with faith would later become twisted and distorted. Lundgren's search for meaning led him to Central Missouri State University. It was here where he crossed paths with the reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a distant offshoot of Mormonism. He immersed himself in Scripture, becoming increasingly fixated on obscure passages in apocalyptic prophecies. His interpretations grew increasingly unorthodox, straying far from the Church's accepted teachings. He became convinced that he possessed a unique ability to decipher the hidden messages within the Scriptures. This newfound gift fueled his growing sense of self-importance and set him on a collision course with the Church he once embraced. As Lundgren delved deeper into his self-styled interpretations of the Scriptures, he began to gather a small but dedicated following. His unique perspective and confident delivery drew people in. He held regular meetings in his home, transforming his living room into a makeshift sanctuary. There he captivated his audience with his fiery sermons and promises of spiritual enlightenment, creating an atmosphere charged with anticipation and devotion. He preached a gospel of imminent apocalypse, claiming that only he held the key to salvation. His charisma was undeniable, and his followers believed he was a true prophet sent to guide them through the end times. Lundgren had a way of tapping into people's deepest fears and desires, offering them a sense of belonging and purpose in a world that seemed increasingly uncertain. His words resonated deeply, making his followers feel seen and understood. Among his most devoted followers were the Avery family, Dennis and Cheryl, along with their 3 young daughters, Trina, Rebecca, and Karen. They were drawn to Lundgren's message and became integral members of his inner circle. Tragically, the Avery family would soon become entangled in Lundgren's web of delusion and manipulation, leading to a series of events that would forever change their lives and shock the community. Section 5, Gathering the Flock. Lundgren's teachings took a dark turn as his influence over his followers grew stronger. His sermons, once filled with hope and unity, began to echo with ominous warnings and demands. He demanded absolute obedience, positioning himself as a conduit to God. Followers were told that questioning him was akin to questioning divine will. He convinced his followers that their worldly possessions were an obstacle to their spiritual salvation. Material wealth, he preached, was a chain binding them to a doomed world. They willingly surrendered their homes, savings, and even their identities to him. The promise of a higher purpose and a place in the coming paradise was too alluring to resist. The farm in Ohio became their sanctuary, a place where they could prepare for the coming apocalypse, free from the distractions of the outside world. It was a self-sustaining community, isolated and insular, but beneath the veneer of communal living and shared faith, a sinister undercurrent was brewing. Tensions rose as the leader's demands grew more extreme. Lundgren's pronouncements became increasingly bizarre, and his hold on his followers tightened. Fear and confusion spread, but the grip of his authority remained unyielding. Section 6. A Twisted Gospel. Lundgren's teaching centered on a concept he called chiasm, a literary device he claimed to have discovered in the Bible. He used chiasm to justify his increasingly erratic behavior and to demand absolute loyalty from his followers. He proclaimed that he alone possessed the divine authority to interpret God's will. His followers, blinded by their devotion, accepted his every word as gospel. They believed that their eternal salvation hinged on their unquestioning obedience to their self-proclaimed prophet. It was this unwavering trust that allowed the unthinkable to occur. Section 7. The Kirtland Massacre. In April 1989, Lundgren's delusions reached a terrifying crescendo. He became convinced that God was demanding a blood sacrifice, a test of loyalty from his followers. He chose the Avery family as the victims, citing their supposed lack of commitment to his teachings. In a chilling display of cruelty, Lundgren and several of his followers lured the unsuspecting family to a barn on the farm. There they were bound, gagged, and shot execution style. The brutality of the crime sent shockwaves through the community and beyond. It exposed the dark underbelly of religious extremism and the devastating consequences of unchecked power. Section 8. The Walls Close In. As news of the Avery family's disappearance spread, suspicion quickly fell upon Lundgren and his followers. The FBI launched a full-scale investigation, piecing together the events that led to the murders. Witnesses came forward revealing the cult's bizarre beliefs and Lundgren's increasingly erratic behavior. The net was closing in. Authorities tracked down Lundgren and his followers to a campground in California. After a tense standoff, they were apprehended. The discovery of the Avery family's bodies confirmed the worst fears. It was a horrifying scene that left an indelible mark on all who witnessed it. Section 9. The Weight of Justice. The trial of Jeffrey Lundgren and his followers was a media sensation. The nation watched in horror as the details of the murders and the cult's twisted beliefs were revealed. Prosecutors presented a mountain of evidence, including chilling audio recordings of Lundgren's sermons and eyewitness accounts from former followers. Despite his attempts to portray himself as a misunderstood prophet, the jury found Lundgren guilty on multiple counts of aggravated murder and kidnapping. He was sentenced to death. Several of his followers were also convicted and received lengthy prison sentences. Justice had been served, but the scars of Lundgren's deception ran deep. Section 10. The Prophet's End. On October 24, 2006, Jeffrey Lundgren was executed by lethal injection. He remained defiant until the end, maintaining his innocence and claiming that he was a martyr for his faith. His execution brought a close to the legal chapter of the case, but the questions and the pain lingered on. Lundgren's victims, the Avery family, were laid to rest, their lives cut tragically short. Their story serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of religious extremism and the importance of critical thinking. Section 11. Scars of Deception. The legacy of Jeffrey Lundgren is a chilling reminder of the seductive power of charisma and the devastating consequences of blind faith. His story highlights the importance of questioning authority, thinking critically, and recognizing the warning signs of manipulation. While Lundgren's reign of terror has ended, the scars of his deception remain. The Kirtland massacre serves as a cautionary tale. It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, hope and resilience can emerge from the ashes of tragedy.